Welcome back to Bodanza Disc Golf. Within the past 6 months, 3 of the most overhyped mid-ranges that I can remember have been released. First was the Balance from Axiom Discs, Simon's new overstable mid-range. It came out more like a pyro, but since MVP didn't quite get exactly what they wanted from the first run, they've come out with 2 prototype scents, the V3, which is fine, but my favorite is the V2. After that dropped, there was the Glacier from Discmania in the black mystery boxes, which is Gannon's new mid-range. He wanted something torque resistant, but straight for someone who throws as far as him, which is one of the farthest in the world. So it's likely a slightly overstable mid-range for most. Then finally, the Buzzsaw was released. This is a Buzz, just normal Buzz, but they put ESP plastic for the saw and then covered it in Z, so it's the fused line. Today, we're gonna play 9 holes here at Owl's Den. They actually put in these sweet practice baskets, so we'll take one quick upshot with each of them just to see which one gets CTP, and that'll determine the order of the box. Because I wanna see which is the best hyped mid-range. Maybe ever, but at least of the last year or two, because I've been playing disc golf for 3 years. These are the most hyped mid-ranges that have come out. Not necessarily that they're the best, but we want to see which is the best between them, which today means the lowest score. Typically, I stress how score and putting in these videos doesn't matter, and it doesn't, but today we're going to act like it does. And whichever one wins today, between the V2 Balance, because I think this is the best balance, you can watch my balance review with Eagle McMahon after this video if you'd like, the Fused Buzz, and Gannon's Glacier, which I aced with on a second shot the first time I took it out. That's really good. That's really good, baby! Whoever wins will be officially the Hype King. First release was probably the Balance. Not these protos, but we'll throw that first. That's pretty good. And the Glacier. Oh, more stable than I gave it credit for. Uh-oh. And the Buzz, which I think will be the straightest. Definitely the most nose up. Let's see who's got the box. Balance first, then Glacier, then Buzz. These all do have slightly different feels on them. Buzz is probably the most understable, but this is also the only one that I threw in Arizona, and I threw these in Denver, which is where I'm at now. So they might be more similar than I gave credit for. V2 has the box, 278 feet. Start with a little turnover. See how they hold? A little high and nose up, but that's a look. I think the Glacier was next. I already forgot. Nice nose angle in the Headwind. Not quite straight enough, but a good shot. And the Buzz. Okay, definitely seems the straightest, but in the same ballpark. Didn't realize I was being a little weak boy in this shot. I thought it was the best shot. No great shots, but all putts. Oh, not the best. You know, I was talking about the practice baskets and I didn't even get any practice putts in. What was I thinking? 1 down for the Balance. Par for the other 2. And as we're chilling on hole 2 waiting to throw, we'll take a look at the profiles and the hand feels, because the Glacier is very Gannon Burr-esque. The Balance is much better than I thought it would be because of what the initial Balance was. It doesn't feel nearly as like sharp. And the Buzz is a Buzz. Feels like a slightly gummy Buzz, but I mean, if you felt the Buzz, you felt the Fused Buzz, because you can't really feel the ridges very much. The Balance, pretty typical mid-range profile. Much blunter though than if you were to look at this. This just looks like a meaner mid, you can definitely tell, which makes sense. This is a little mellower. Still not quite as straight as the V3, but they're pretty close, and I think that this V2 has a much better hand feel. Glacier almost looks more like the Balance, but it's much more rounded over, so it's not, I mean, it's pretty similar overstability to the V2 Balance. And then the Buzz is a Buzz. And honestly, after those first throws and looking at these profiles again, the Buzz could be a touch slower. Like, these both are a little more streamlined, a little rounder. So the Buzz might just actually be a little slower of a mid. The Glacier feels the fastest. So I'd imagine if you get these all in good lines, this goes the farthest. 375 feet, Balance at the box, and we're throwing this little turnover line. So very similar to the first shot, just actually hard. Get it to the basket this time, buddy boy. Oh, wow. Very little turn on that. There's a touch of tailwind. It'll be a long putt. Maybe a little more turn. The Glacier does have a feel where it like wants to wrap your hand around it. Even though it's the deepest feeling, it feels Not as uncomfortable as I'd think for how deep it is, because the rim, it feels like it kind of curves in a little, so your hand sits comfortably. Turn to more. Gets too comfortable in there. All right, Buzz, let's throw a good one. That's it. Oh, baby. Sheesh. That's pretty good. Yeah, it's definitely more stable here in Denver than it was in Arizona. And it's more similar to those two, but it does seem to be a touch slower. Like more true mid-range. These aren't like hybrid fairways at all, but they seem to be a touch faster. Ever so slightly. Feel bad for Gannon and this Glacier. But I mean, I got an ace with it in another video, so I can't feel that bad, but pretty poor showing on that shot. Soft flex, maybe got 180 feet in. A little too soft on the flex. Uh-oh. Still have a long putt from that Glacier. Oh, it's Gannon's this though. I can putt well. Okay, we're good. Ooh, Glacier's still out, and then the Buzz is not quite tap-in range, but definitely a good putt. There we go. Are you? Oh my gosh. Maybe it's a little hard. That felt middle flat. Come on. Okay, at least it didn't scare me away from the Buzz. Glacier is 2 back now. I guess, you know, when you say, hey, it's Gannon's disc, putting with Gannon's old putters, his PA3s, you get some spin outs, I guess. 215, four-hander, tailwind, I like it. Buzz first, mostly hyzer. We'll try to like stall him back. I think this is gonna be the least torque resistant on the forehand. This one might look like it more because it's deeper. And sometimes as discs get deeper in my hands, they like come off my fingers weird and end up wobbling more. Hopefully that's not the case. Okay, if I leave that wider, it's pretty good. It's a little too inside. Come on, balance. Oh, that's low. Get a skip somehow. Huh. Redeem yourself, baby. That's more like it. Okay, well, that one was way long. Smooth throw, though. I like it. Not even really a look. This would have to be pretty special. Come on. Yeah, dude! Bang, 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 bang. Oh, that doesn't count. Would've been cool, though. Wrong disc, you know. Couldn't go in for that. 259 feet. Could be another good try for the forehand, but I think we might try one more forehand, but Buzz still has the box. We do have a little tail, a little right to left. So I think even though it's 260, we're gonna try to give them all a touch of flex and try to just be touchy guys. Act like this is Sprinkle Valley 18, but a little bit longer than the upshot. Well, touchy guys put it 40 short, I guess. A little more driven. Sometimes that's my miss. I'll end up just popping the nose up instead of just being really slow and still finishing the throw. That's a finished throw. Much better. It's literally like 3 feet ahead of it. Much better might have been a little exaggeration. That's better. Maybe a little too driven. Wow. These are not nearly as bad as I thought. I will say the Glacier does seem to be a little faster than both of these. The Buzz might be a touch slower than the Balance, but the Glacier seems to be a bit faster. And a bit is obviously more than a touch. Dwell on that for a second. No. Sorry, Buzzy boy. You gotta finish the putt. With your fingies, bro. See, very similar miss to the first one. Just a little, my wrist stayed like this, but I finished with my fingers and it made it to the chains instead of missing out. Left side. That being said, Balance, 3 down. Buzz, 2 down. Glacier, 1 down. 5 to play, we got a battle, folks. 3 1/4, 99 meters. Valencia's got the box. Part of me wants to try this like a little flexi boy, but got a right to left. So I think flat down this gap, they're all straight enough that if I throw them just inside of this tree and left enough from those big branch clusters that hang down, it's actually a pretty tight gap. It's a little offset. If I throw it flat through that, it should be perfect. Too much hyzer, goes in the woods. Too much right or too much turn, goes in that tree. tricky little shot. This will be a good test. It's pretty good. That should be edge of circle a little left. Wasn't quite as driven and was a little higher than I wanted, but turned out well. Glacier, next. That's the shot. Still a little pushed and pretty much on top of the other one. That was the shot. The wind just pushed it a little more than I anticipated. Try the buzz, might have to even be a touch flatter, but that was the perfect line. There it is. Nope, same exact spot. Well, oh, and it's got a bad bounce. Okay, they're all like 30-ish, 35 feet. Pretty solid shots for this hole. That's definitely like the gap to play if you want the most consistent shot, in my opinion, for my game. And giving myself a putt on all of those, pretty happy about. They all could have used a touch more speed, but this is the farthest at probably about 40 feet, and the others are probably just edge of circle. Should I step it out or step it in? Step it in. No! Nice. Nice. Tied with the buzz, but the prototype balance V2 is too ahead. Okay, I really thought that this would have more understability than the other ones by a good margin. And it seems like it is not that much. They're all very similar. Seems like a couple different companies trying to make the same slot. Or at least just like make the buzz a cooler artistic thing, because the buzz is already in that slot. But it would make sense that everyone else basically wants a buzz style disc. Gannon wants it a little faster, a little more torque resistant and deep. Simon wants it pretty similar to like stable buzz. Because like a hex is similar to a buzz, but hex is on average probably a little more understable than your average buzz, I think, based on my experiences. And these turned out pretty good. I did forget there is another forehand hole, 265 feet, left to right tailwind. So I don't want to turn it into it because it's a mid-range. If it gets on edge against the wind, the wind's just going to keep dragging it that way. But if you get it flat to hyzer, it should glide and finish towards the basket. That's pretty forehandable, I'd say. Go in. Oh my! These fly nice. Oh, great, Anthony. It's not that much understable more, or what are words? The good news is, like in normal disc golf, putting is effective today. And those are both a touch long. The Glacier had to be foot away maybe less, because it's circle too long. This one might actually have to be a stepper because of the ceiling. Yep. Bang! Let's go. Stepper officially redeemed. About to big putt myself. Oh, headwind. Oh, I called it. What am I thinking? Balance is 5 down. It's only missed one hole. Hole 2, shoot, which is like the non-mid-range hole. Next, we got a little headwind 340. So we'll get to see the flight differences accentuated, because the headwind will accentuate some turn, and the distance will help that as well. Not an easy wind at all. Proto, balance. Maybe a little too much hyzer, get a skip. That is putting. Not the height that I needed. Ooh, buzz box. Come on, buzzy boy. Ah, I keep thinking it's gonna flip more. Oh, that's my bad, man. Surprised at how much more similar to these than I thought it was. But I threw them at 4,000 feet different of elevation, so it kind of makes sense, but. Okay, those all didn't like flip at all in the wind. Probably torque resistant, pretty good. Maybe I didn't really throw them as hard as I could have. I don't know. That was a little more surprising than I thought. They're all decent shots except for the buzz, because I thought maybe it's a little right to lefty, and that's why if it exposed the flight plate, it wouldn't let it flip. But the buzz, man, it's not as flippy as I thought. Good surprise though, it's not that short for how hyzered it was the whole time in that wind. It's a good layup, I guess. I'll be completely honest with you. I thought the Glacier or the Buzz was going to be like my favorite and perform the best. But the one that my hand is just like gravitating towards and throwing well is that V2 balance, which means I really hope that they make it. I don't know if I would bag it, but it's really solid. Dude, make a putt. if there's a different hype king than the balance, which, I mean, that kind of makes sense. Simon is the ultimate hype king, or hype driver. I'll give him hype king. I don't think it's offensive. Hopefully he doesn't take it that way, but it makes sense that his disc is the best hype king. Another headwind hole, 283. Similar, basically just showing straight headwind here. So I think we're gonna use that to our advantage again. OB to the right. It really is reminding me of like a reactor, honestly. It's probably different in some capacity, but I haven't thrown a reactor in a while. But I like the disc a lot. Oh, too much heisa. Not by, oh wow, over the top actually. Okay, maybe just too high. That was surprising. Oh, don't get it too low now. Skip. I'm sorry, Gannon. I'd like to apologize, Mr. Gannon Burr. I hope you're not watching this video. But that's the line. Drop! Oh, wow. No, it's not the line. It was kind of close to getting back over. It was kind of close to getting back over. A couple circle 2 guys here. Of course, these guys get the wind lifts and the Glacier doesn't. Because that's what happens when you throw it too low. Not too much nose up, didn't shoot straight. It just kept veering to the left. Yep. Good correction. We're getting balanced, dude. Oh, wow. If I ace the last hole with the balance, I get a true ace because it's the first shot. And I shoot a 9 down. 288 feet. One last tunnel to shoot through. Getting an ace here would be something special because there's like a tree literally right in the line. And it'd be a crazy good shot too. That being said, we're gonna try. I don't know, balance is the hype king. Parked. What the heck, that's crazy. All right, oh wait, Glacier got a bogey. Well, didn't really know, we'll take the par. Hold straight when you throw it on that line, which is like Gannon's line. So it makes sense, super straight disc when you throw a touch of Annie. And the buzz, last chance at greatness. Maybe ever. That's the line. No, too much fade. Let's go. I got some putts to clean up before we crown the inevitable V2 balance, not the OG balance. It has to be the V2 as the hype king, even though that might be the most underhyped one. Jeez. My putting from the Glacier is so abysmal. I was literally like, oh, don't hit that tree. What do you think is gonna happen when your last shot for your putts don't hit the tree? Balance V2, officially the hype king. 8 down. Not bad at all. Subscribe and I'll see you guys soon. Snag these on Infinite if they're available and you want them. And my Sphinx is coming out in 2 weeks. April 3rd. Keep your eye out.